Now, Just Eat are proud partners with UEFA as part of their Champions League sponsorship. Just Eat are set to visit 4 of Ireland's biggest universities on UEFA Champions League match days in September and October, aiming to increase awareness of their UEFA sponsorship. At each campus, they'll be hosting a soccer skills activation, and those who participate have a chance to win Champions League branded prizes, Just Eat vouchers, and one lucky winner per campus will win UEFA Champions League tickets and hospitality. And I'm delighted to say Stephanie Roche is with us this morning to help promote this. Stephanie, good morning to you. How are you getting on?
Hey lads, how are you? I'm all good, thank you.
The draw came through last week for Ireland and it punctured a little bit of the joy and celebration around the team, just given the fact that we were hoping for an easy draw and we got a really hard draw. What was your immediate reaction to the news that it's Scotland or Austria, and most likely Austria?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you look at the draw, I think we did get the harder side of it. I think also the fact that we obviously missed round 1 to get into round 2, and we've got an away draw as well. I think that was a little bit unfortunate because I think maybe the team that's qualified to round 2 maybe should have had the home draw, so that kind of goes against you as well. But look, I think the girls have said it. I think they've come through a really tough group. Getting to the playoff spot was a tough thing to do originally, so I don't think they'll fear any of the teams they're playing. But as you say, we've got definitely the tougher side of the draw, but it's just about facing whoever we get now, whether it be Scotland or Austria. I think, as you said, it probably will end up being Austria. I probably would have preferred Scotland, but look, we'll see what happens in that game, and all we can do is just prepare for it.
Hopefully there's a mass brawl. It goes to extra time and penalties and they're completely exhausted and they've loads of suspensions. That's the best case scenario here for us.
Yeah, definitely. Look, he'll obviously look for everything that could possibly go our way, and whatever can happen in that game can definitely, if that can help us. But look, as I said, I think the girls have faced tougher tests over the last couple of games. I think the game against Sweden away particularly was a great result for us. So look, I think we've seen in the past when we're up against it, we're probably at our best. I think we're expected to win games. Probably that's where we don't perform. So I think to play a team like Austria might be a bigger challenge, and it might end up playing into our hands as well.
We were having this conversation a little bit earlier on about the very definition of counter-attacking, and the team has been built for big games. The team isn't necessarily built for dominating games against opponents who are of similar standard to us. But certainly if Austria come or if we're in Austria and Austria are dominating possession in that game, Ireland won't really be that worried. The setup of the team structurally and tactically is designed to be able to withdraw or to withstand that kind of pressure.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's how we've built the whole campaign, so as we've played throughout the whole campaign so far. I think when you look at the players that we have, we've got pacey players up front like Heather Payne and Leanne Kiernan, who you can bring in and they'll kind of take the pressure off the defence. And as you say, we've been set up in games where we've played our best, where we've been kind of compact defensively and just trying to use that quick counter-attack and get the ball forward quickly for those type of players to be able to produce something. So, look, that might suit us a little bit better. I think in the last 2 games, maybe we got through them and we got the result which we needed, but probably the performance wasn't as good as it has been previously. So, look, that might suit us a bit more, as I said before, kind of, and as you said, the way we set up as a team is probably suited to be kind of a bit more compact defensively and try and hit them on the counter-attack.
If you're to make the argument, Stephanie, for Ireland to progress, regardless of whether it's Scotland or Austria, like, I guess Vera has ensured that these players play against some of the big teams, even in friendlies and that. She's always keen to get some of the top-ranked teams against her side. And then when you look at the Swedish draw as well, I mean, they've done it before against one of the top teams in the world, so there's no reason why they can't take on anyone.
Yeah, exactly. And I think just it's in kind of our Irish DNA, isn't it, in terms of sports? We always seem to perform better when we're the underdog, and I think that's something that we've always had. As you mentioned, we play kind of against some tougher teams in the build-up to this campaign. Obviously, we had a bit of a losing streak, but I think it's stood to us going through this campaign because we've kind of been prepared for the bigger nations coming to us and kind of not just going into games where maybe you might win easily and it gets the confidence up. It's about kind of preparing for tougher games going forward within the campaign. And as I said, that's stood to us so far. So hopefully it can kind of, when we play against either Scotland or Austria, that will stand to us again. But look, it's going to be a tough game. Obviously, getting through that as well. I think it's Switzerland will face Wales or Bosnia, and then kind of it depends on who gets through the group in terms of the 3 who will go to the mini tournament in February as well. So there's still a long way to go, but we just got to take it game by game and hope that the results go our way.
Our only real reference point for a playoff in the women's game was back in 2008 against Iceland, and I know you were part of that squad at maybe 19 or 20 years of age, very young. But what are your recollections of that? Like, I remember it was a 1-1 game at home, and then the game in the ice and snow over in Iceland ended 3-0. Sadly, not to Ireland, but that must have been quite an experience for you, and something that a lot of these these Irish players now are going to have to face themselves. I think there's only 3 members of the current squad that were on that team back then as well. So it's a lot of pressure when you get to that playoff moment.
Yeah, and look, I think looking back on that game, that was my first ever cap for Ireland, and I remember going out on the pitch before the game, and there was groundsmen going around with these big shovels and like hitting the ice, and I was like, this isn't going to go ahead. There's no way. The pitch was completely unplayable, and the game went ahead anyway, and obviously, as you said, we lost the game. But for me, to see us get into a playoff is brilliant, because constantly you hear people talking about how women's football has progressed and the team is doing really well. And for me, we haven't progressed until we at least match what we've done in 2008, and we've done that with this World Cup playoff. But for me, that's the best thing that's happened now, is that we've got to the playoff, we've made that breakthrough, and hopefully, as I said, I know it's a lot harder of it. Obviously, back then it was just a 2-game playoff. It was home and away draw, whereas now for the World Cup, it's a little bit more complicated. But for me, matching that playoff and getting there is definitely progress, and that's great to see. So hopefully, as I said, the girls can go one step further and get us there. But for me, that was the biggest thing that ever happened with women's football, was getting to that playoff. And as I said, over the years, you're constantly told women's football is getting better. It's this, that and the other. And obviously people are getting more interested in it. But for me, the biggest progression for us has to be getting to that playoff. And that's been great to see.
I know, and like the benefits of getting to a tournament in terms of inspiring future generations. So that's the prize. And like, even if we don't qualify this time, you have to hope that the improvement in results is going to lead to a better draw for the Euros. And we should definitely qualify for the Euros, given how well the team is playing at the moment and the age profile of the squad. So, you know, you can make the case that it's not going to be a disaster if we don't qualify, but it's going to be so disappointing, because we're all so invested in this group at the moment. What's your own situation at the moment, Stephanie? You were obviously back in named in Ireland squads for the 2 matches in the summer. What's your situation at the moment?
Yeah, look, I kind of have been on standby for quite a while now. I've been involved with the home base squad, obviously back playing with Peamount. I've been in and around the squad quite a bit. I was on standby for the Georgia game, and then got drafted in last minute, just before my wedding actually. So it was all a bit hectic. But yeah, look, as I said, I'm on standby with the team. I've had conversations with Vera. I've been around the squad quite a bit, and obviously I've been part of it throughout this campaign. So look, all I can do is kind of keep focusing on my club performances, and hopefully that'll give me an opportunity to get back in again. But look, I'm always, as I've said, I'm always available to play for Ireland. I always want to play for Ireland. I'm not ready to retire just yet, but as I said, I'm on standby, and I've had conversations with Vera. I've been around the squad a bit, but at the moment I'm kind of just on the outside, as I said.
Nothing else you could do except keep scoring goals like you did at the weekend.
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully I can get a few more of them. I probably should have had a couple more in that game, to be honest, but look, we got the win, and as you said, I got the goal, which was nice.
I did want to ask you about the story that's kind of been brewing over the last 24, 48 hours or so, the Galway situation, where Galway are doing relatively well at the moment in the league. You know, a few wins here and they could be much further up the table. They're nowhere near the worst team in the league by any stretch of the imagination, but they've announced now that they're not going to apply for membership of the league next season, and they've stated that they hope that somebody else will come in and that there will be a senior Galway women's football team. There's a suggestion today that it might be in connection with the fact that the game is going semi-pro, and it'd be a bit of a disaster if going semi-pro was an excuse or a reason for some of these clubs not to progress. What was your take and read and all that, and what have your teammates and friends and colleagues within the league have been saying about it?
Yeah, look, obviously when it was announced, there was a message into our WhatsApp group with Peamount, and a lot of the girls are going to ask questions about it. And for me, I'll be honest, my initial thought was surely they're going to go in with Galway United. It's just been announced that they're not going to go ahead with it, but they're going to be affiliated with the men's team a little bit better. So look, I'd be shocked if they do go out of the league, because they've been a great team over the years. I think some of the players that have come through the Galway setup, like the likes of Julianne Russell, Maeve de Burka, Niamh Fahey obviously played there years ago as well. So there's definitely players within that region that are capable of playing within the Women's National League. So to not have a team would be disastrous, you know. And I think, as I said, they've been successful over the years. Probably kind of that team that have almost got there but not got there, you know. And when you look at their underage system over the last couple of years, they've won under 17s and under 19s titles. So they definitely have a young, good squad coming up. So to not be in the league would, as I said, be disastrous. So hopefully, as I said, my thought straight away was surely Galway United are going to come in, and obviously they've gone full time in their men's setup, so surely they can help the women's side, and it can become one big club.
Yeah, that would be really great, and it kind of would definitely be a way forward. Like, is it taken as a fact that the league is going semi-professional next year. Is that what your understanding of that is?
I like to hope so. I think the rumours I've heard, obviously nothing's been confirmed yet, but the rumours that I've heard is that a lot of the clubs, obviously we've seen the likes of Bowes coming forward and Shell's kind of affiliating with the men's team a bit more. So it's definitely seems to be heading that way. And look, it's something that I've been calling for the last few years. I think when you look at the players and the standard within the league, it's definitely capable of doing that. And going semi-pro will help improve it, will help improve performances, will give the girls in the league a better chance to be able to perform and focus more on their football and stuff. So I think it's got to be the way forward, and hopefully it will.
Yeah, because that seems to have been the reason that the on Galway WFC, the chairperson was saying that was one of the reasons why they couldn't continue next year. Now, hopefully it is a way of getting the Galway United's ownership to go, actually, you know what, yeah, we should actually be a men's and women's club. It makes perfect sense. It's like doubling our audience, all the games that we'll play, the youth system and the rising tide will lift all boats. So fingers crossed, because that seems to be the first time anybody's publicly said that's what's going to happen next year. You're saying that it's long been rumoured, so maybe that's the start of the official word leaking out?
Yeah, hopefully. As I said, I think it's something that myself and a few other players in the league have been saying. And look, I know it's easy to say it, but there's ways of how you do it and how you make it happen, and that's up to the people that run the league. But for me, I think it's the way forward. I think particularly when you see the women's Irish team doing so well, you have the Euros on TV. A lot of people are more interested in women's football. So for me, the only way forward is to go semi-professional. So please God it happens, and look, we'll wait and see.
It's far too early to be asking you this question, Stephanie, but I'm going to ask you it anyway. Like I saw on your Twitter at the weekend, you were at the FAI headquarters, and a lot of you were standing on the sidelines as a lot of young girls were taking part in a bit of a training camp over the weekend. There was a photo of you standing on the sideline, arms crossed. You had very managerial vibes off, you have to say. Like, is that down the line something that you're half thinking about? Is it more punditry, or would management and coaching be something half interesting for you?
Definitely. Like, yeah, I obviously do quite a bit of coaching at the moment. I have my own coaching company that be in schools and running summer camps and stuff like that. So definitely something I'd be interested in. Like, obviously football's been a huge part of my life, and I think if I was just walk away and not be involved in football at all, I don't think I'd be a very good person to be around. So it's definitely something that I'd love to get into. I love that side of the game. And actually, you mentioned the thing I done with Sky. Like, some of the young girls that were playing there were excellent, and definitely, I think, stars for the future. So look, to be able to be a part of something like that would be nice. As you say, a little bit further down the line, obviously, but that's definitely something I'd like to get into, would be a bit of coaching. I'm doing my UAFB at the moment, so hoping to keep going down that the coaching badge route and see what happens in the future. I
know you're a big Manchester United fan, Stephanie, and very jealous looking at you during the week at the Irish Grocers Benevolent Fund charity dinner. A lot of big names there, Bernard Brogan, and I know Ken Doherty was there as well. But Roy Keane, I mean, to be sitting at a table with the likes of Roy Keane, I'm sure there were conversations off mic that were more than interesting to be at that table. Yeah, it was a crazy day. Like, obviously, as you say, I'm a big United fan, and I'd been asked to do the event a long time ago, and I only got an email about the kind of run through, and I seen Roy Keane's name, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, Roy Keane is doing this. So it was all, obviously, as you can imagine, as a United fan, I'd be a huge fan of Roy Keane, so to know I was going to be sitting at a lunch table with him was pretty special. But it was a great day, obviously, and as you say, we done the Q&A and stuff up on stage, but before that we were at the table sitting down chatting and just hearing some of the stories. And obviously, as I said, I would have grown up watching Roy Keane on telly and hearing some of his stories, and also Ken Doherty, like, who's a legend as well. So it was nice to be able to kind of sit down with the two of them and have chats. And we actually ended up, it was meant to finish at 4:00 and we didn't get out of there until about 6:20. So the conversation went on afterwards as well, which was nice. And look, it was a great day. And as I said, as a United fan, to be in the company of someone like that was fantastic. Did you get to chat to Roy much one-on-one? Yeah, he was actually lovely, and obviously he has this persona and people kind of don't really know what way to take him or whatever, but for me he was lovely. He was really chatty, and we just chatted about football. He was asking about the women's team and obviously where I'm playing at the moment, all that sort of stuff. So he was really, really nice guy, and as I said, it can be hard when you hear the stories about him, and obviously I've known a lot about him throughout the years, but obviously being face to face and having that chat was nice. And as I said, he was a lovely guy, really nice. We've been talking all morning and probably all week, Stephanie, about the postponements in games for obvious reasons across channel, and it was similar for the Women's Super League. Like, it was all set for this big, record-breaking, massive attendance kickstart to the new season at the weekend in the men's stadiums as well, which was going to add a little bit of an extra dimension to the whole season. Now that that's not happened, disappointing looking in from the outside. Like, it probably wouldn't be the same. These games probably have to be rescheduled for midweek if they are to be in the those stadiums, which might not draw as big a crowd. The families can't really go in the evening kickoffs and all the rest. So a bit disappointing from that perspective.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, look, obviously people are talking about how it's disruptive for the men's game because obviously there's such a big schedule at the moment before the World Cup. But for me, it's a bigger effect on the women's game because obviously, as you said, after the Euros, the promotion around the games, the first games of WSL have been huge. They're playing in the men's stadium. And look, there's been a lot of work that's gone into it, but to change the schedule like that has really messed up a lot of stuff for the women's teams. And obviously, as you say, the games will now have to probably go ahead midweek, which maybe might not draw as many people in. So, look, hopefully something can be arranged and the girls will be able to play in the men's stadium because I think, as I said, with the kind of interest around the women's game after the Euros, it definitely will draw the crowd, and it'll be disappointing to see that not happen there, you know. But it's, for me, as I said, I think the men's game has been effective, but for me, it's been more so effective for the women's.
Stephanie, great to have you with us this morning. Thanks a million for joining us. Cheers.
Thanks a million, guys.
That's Stephanie Roche there. Just Eat Proud partners with UEFA as part of their Champions League sponsorship. They're set to visit 4 of Ireland's biggest universities on UEFA Champions League match days in September and October, aiming to increase awareness of their UEFA sponsorship.